Oh hey, we are here today at Mount Si Senior Center, right there. Oh, just kidding, right there. And I am here today, well my name is Gina, here today with Christian. And we are here to interview people who were alive during the times of World War II. And we are here to hear about their stories. Let's see what happens next. We are interviewing a man today who goes by the name of Bill. He participated in the Navy during the times of World War II and is currently 87 years old.
And part of C Company, which was like their kind of crew. What he did on the ships, he would go around fixing it, but he was also like up on deck in the captain's quarters. He was attacked by a few kamikazes, and he was in actually a lot of aerial to ship fights. Yeah.
And here's the interview.
What were your opinions on the war, like overall? Like, what did you think about it?
Well, almost everyone in the United States behind the effort to win the war. They felt it was a justified war. Not only because we were attacked by Pearl Harbor, we tried to stay out of it as long as we could. Yeah, although it was disastrous. The people looked at Europe, and we would meet people that were refugees from Europe, and the stories that they told would sometimes were unbelievable, but they were true, and everyone wanted to win the war.
Where were you during the time of war?
1941, in February, I graduated from high school. I had started at a school called Pratt Institute School of Science and Technology, majoring in mechanical engineering. I remember that Sunday, I came home from church, and my father said, "Shh, quiet, listen." All ears were on the radio. Every station that he turned it on. Pearl Harbor, Pearl Harbor, Pearl Harbor, attack on Pearl. And it wasn't until later that we learned in the newspapers. The attack was quite successful from the enemy's viewpoint. We just had to get ready. We had to prepare. So the nation turned into a gung-ho state, you might say. Production increased, people started working, guys were getting drafted. Anyhow, I was in school, and after that, the next semester we started trimesters, no summer vacation. I stayed in school. I went to enlist. I wanted to enlist in the Navy. Every time I went to the Navy, they said, "Stay in school. We're going to need your training." And then one day, October 1942, excuse me. There was a General Assembly called, and we went to the assembly. We looked up at the stage, the auditorium, and there was a group of naval officers and Navy enlisted. They got up and said, "The Navy is instituting programs to direct people that want to enlist, guys that want to enlist, into programs where they will best be suited to serve the Navy and good for themselves." So they instituted what was called the V-12 for college students who are presently in school to enlist in the United States Navy Reserve. They would be immediately released back to inactive duty. You stay in school until they call you up. I qualified for student war loans. Sure enough, late June 1943, got a postcard from the Navy that I was to report to Columbia University in the city of New York. Stand in line here, get your shots, here's your uniforms, go change, here's a box, put your old clothes in there, here's their debt. Fill out the address label, that was it. So they assigned, how lucky can you be? I stayed there for a year, and they transferred us to Asbury Park in New Jersey. We did all kinds of training, and then one day they said, "Okay, you're going to Annapolis." So I went to Annapolis for OCS, graduated December 20th, got married on December 22nd, and I got on a carrier, USS Cabot, CVL. We had a couple of air raids, 2 Japanese pilots. Showed you how determined and how skilled they were.
We were looking at the Japanese doing the kamikazes to India.
Yeah. So these 2 Japanese airplanes, and I was on the after part of the ship, and I could look up and I could see them coming. Some of the smaller ships could fire anti-aircraft weapons because they were not into the flank of other ships. We got into several of the battles. Okinawa, we raided Tokyo, we raided Formosa. Well, you really didn't worry because your discipline and your training, everything was geared for you to do your job.
So you felt pretty
Confident,
confident?
apprehensive, yeah, and sometimes scared, but this is your job.
Yeah.
And we were attacked several times by kamikazes.
So the convoys where the Germans would attack our supplies to.
Well, that was in the Atlantic, the Germans were in the Atlantic, I was in the Pacific area, in the Caroline Islands. These were enormous fleets.
Japan, you understand what they did with their prisoners?
Fortunately, I never got shipped, we never got bombed where we had to abandon ship or anything.
Did you hear about any of like bombings that went around?
Oh yeah, we had several near misses. You could feel the ship lurch.
Yeah.
The regular lights would go out, and what called battle lanterns came on. 30, 40 guys in a fire room. They flinch it over there, right there, doing their job. You know, you didn't let things like that worry you because if you did, you'd go nuts. You know, but.
So do you still keep in touch with people?
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, not as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
But I got about 6 or 7 names of us that are still surviving. And of course, they're all my age. Hey, what happened to so-and-so? Oh, you know, he had a heart attack, he died. I still keep in touch with him.
That's good. I think that's enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for